Sometimes I have to come out here and just reconnect with nature because life gets a little mundane sometimes. I am currently sitting under this huge oak tree and it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, look at this. It's just gorgeous. I love trees, man. Trees are so cool. It's like I don't know. They're so pretty. It's a gorgeous day outside today, and I just wonder what kind of stories does this tree have to tell? I mean, when you think about it, this tree has probably been here, I don't know. It's been here a long time. And I just wonder how many generations did it see? You know what? If it could like literally just sit here and talk to me and tell me all of its ancient wisdom, that would be awesome. It's been a crazy week, not gonna lie, and I might have bugs crawling on me. Yeah, I'm currently in the south at the moment. It's very buggy down here. I'm not particularly crazy about it, but it is what it is. It's a beautiful day, though. I will say that. I don't understand people that ask to borrow something, or you go out of your way to give somebody something and you later find out that they just did not cherish it. They didn't value it. They almost took it for granted. I remember years ago I was dating this person and their mom needed, I don't know, a lawnmower or something. Like she was trying to mow the grass. And my family did this really cool thing, man. They were like, oh, well, look, we're going to buy this lawnmower. You can use it, to cut your grass and then just give it to us after. No big deal, right? So they got it, they used it, they cut half the yard and decided they weren't going to do anymore. And by the time my parents got the lawnmower back, it was tore up. And the only thing this person's mom said was, oh, this part broke. And I'm like, really, dude? Like, I don't know. I just feel like some people weren't raised to treat other people with respect, or they weren't raised to treat other people's property with respect. I don't know. That's a huge pet peeve of mine. It's like somebody pays all this money to help you out, but yet it's like you don't care, or you use the product, or you use whatever it is, and by the time, you return it, you get it back, it's like, I just don't understand people. I really don't. Their morals, their respect for other human beings, their respect for other people's property, I don't know, it kind of went out the window. I was always raised to treat not only my property with respect, but other people's property as well. I mean, I'm not going to go out and ruin somebody else's stuff and be like, oh, my bad, like, that wasn't mine. I don't know. I don't understand people that do stuff like that. I just wonder sometimes, where did the basic human decency go? Another thing I'm seeing lately is people making ass assumptions about other people when they really don't know what's going on in that person's life. They don't know what this person's dealing with, but it's like, oh my God, this person doesn't talk to me, so they must not like me. They must, have some animosity towards me, when in reality, maybe the person's just going through a lot. Maybe they're going through a quiet phase. Maybe they're trying to deal with something and sort some things out, and you're not first priority. I mean, I'm sorry to tell you, but, it's like we always want to put ourselves... It's very windy here, so like branches are flying, okay, I'm just saying. So if one comes down and hits me in the head, well, bye, see you, have a good one. I'll see you on the flip side. This is the thing that irritates me, though, and I've been seeing this so much. It's like somebody will do something, and somebody else that this is not affecting at all will get mad at this said individual because, well, they're doing their own thing. They're doing something that they needed to do, and this other individual's over here, like, getting mad, right? They're like, oh my God, like, how can this person do this? Why is this person doing it? It's like, why are you so worried about what this person's doing? It's like there's a lot of people in each other's business. There's a lot of like brown nosing. Yeah, I don't know. That's what my family used to call it, brown nosing. I just feel this, it's almost like a spying energy. And yeah, I did sing the song, somebody's watching me, because it really feels like that. It feels like we're always under surveillance. Like somebody's always watching you. Somebody always got to know what you're doing. It's like when you get off of social media everybody's like, oh my God, you know, like it's like they think you fell off, and the whole time you just loading up. Years ago, I was in a predicament with a job actually, and it's like the big guy, the big boss, was putting the little boss as middleman, and he would go and say, oh, well, you need to tell Mitzi this, and you need to make her do this. When in reality, the middle boss had no problem whatsoever with me at all, and the other guy was apparently mad about something I was doing or didn't even know I was doing. I don't know. It was just weird. It was shady. But the part that got on my nerves was, if you have a problem with me, you need to come to me. Stop telling everybody else. Stop going around asking everybody else what I'm up to. You really want to know? Ask me. I may or may not tell you, depending on what your question is. You got a problem with me? You got something that we need to address? You need to come to me and stop going to everybody else. Okay? This has happened recently in my personal life as well, and it's really annoying, to be honest. What makes people go to all of these outside sources and ask questions about you when, like, they could just come up and ask you what's going on? Like, hey, I heard this about you. Why don't, you know, what's going on? Can you clarify this? No, instead, I think people thrive on drama and they thrive on gossip. That is why I walked out of that job years ago, because I felt like the main guy that had an issue with me, he couldn't come tell me himself. He had to sit up there and tell somebody else to come tell me something. And I'm like, look, I ain't playing this game, because that's a game and it's a waste of my time. If you can't come to me and address things like an adult, you don't need to be in my life. Something right now, I feel like whatever you're struggling to let go of, I feel like once you let that go and once you release that, I really feel that that's going to make that space for something even better to come in. But a lot of people are hanging on, usually by a thread, you know, in desperation to these things that they're not good for us. But yet you sit there and you keep making excuses for it, and you keep going around and round on this hamster wheel in your head, trying to figure it out and over justifying things. And a lot of people, I mean, really, I find that people over explain themselves. I don't owe anybody an explanation with what I do with my life. I really don't. I mean, I'm me. I work. I make money. I take care of myself. I have a wonderful partner. I live in a beautiful place. That's all you need to know. If you don't know me, then don't make assumptions about me. It's very windy out here today, man. It's like, it's so pretty. We don't get days like this here a lot. So that's why I'm taking advantage of it. I'm outside and I'm loving it, man. I'm loving it. And look, there have been cases in my past where I felt no conversation was needed. The disrespect was plenty enough closure for me. I didn't need any kind of conversation. I'm like, okay, you did what you did. I feel how I feel. It is what it is. There are situations where I will just walk away with no explanation, because I'm like, oh, you already know what you're doing. You already know that you're blatantly disrespecting me. You already know how I feel about the situation because I've addressed it in the past, but yet you keep doing it. What am I supposed to do? I'm going to sit there and take it? No, I'm going to walk away, because you know what? I know my worth. I know my value. I don't know where this energy is coming from, but I kind of feel mad. I feel mad right now. I'm not going to lie. I feel like some of you feel this way. I feel like some of you have always been the scapegoat in everybody else's situations and everybody else's problems. You've always been made out to be the problem. And honestly, y'all, I can relate to that. I've always been a free thinker my entire life. And you know what that's got me? That's got me hated. That's got me cursed. That's got me used, abused, all that stuff. Because I think for myself, I don't conform. And yeah, all these things that people have done to me in the past, you know what? That's on them. Because I know for a fact that when I go into a friendship or go into any kind of partnership, whether this be business or romantic, I try my best. I give it my all. If the other person doesn't hold up to that part of the bargain, well, that's not my problem. Recently, my significant other and I were talking about that very thing, actually. It's about your principles. It's about your morals. It's about doing the best you can and being the best you can to other people, regardless of how they are, right? How you treat people defines you. How they treat you defines them, okay? You cannot control what everybody else does around you. The only thing that you can control is yourself. And there's a lot of people that come in lately that want to trigger you. They want to poke and prod and press buttons, and they really want to make you overreact to a situation just so they can point the finger and say, see, I told you they were like that. I told you they were no good. I told you. Come on now. I know I'm talking to somebody. There's been many situations in the past where I had to remove myself, and I just silently got up and walked away. I'm like, you know what? You're not even worth my words. I'm not going to cast my pearls before swine, okay? I'm not. It's all about discernment. It's all about choosing your battles. A lot of people, they refuse to look in the mirror. They would rather make you the villain than to look in the mirror and do the inner work. You ever notice when you're not happy with your life or even with your day, it affects how you treat other people? When you're not feeling right with yourself, when you're feeling down and you're feeling unworthy, so to speak, it kind of does affect your surroundings. It affects everything around you, because what's inside ultimately manifests on the outside in the physical. You ever heard that phrase, you are what you eat? Yeah, well, it's not just talking about food. You become what you consume. And by consume, I mean, what are you reading on social media? What are you looking at? What are you obsessed with? What is, something that you just can't stop doing? What is this thing that you're so focused on? That ultimately becomes your reality. You ever notice how the people that complain all the time and they never can find anything good about anything, you ever notice how their life is always messed up? They're always sick. They're always broke. Their car never works. It's like they always find something negative about everything in life. And when you do that, it sets your entire world up to come crashing down on you. And then when it does, you're sitting there going, see, I told you nothing goes right. Because you speaking all that negativity on your life. I love nature. I am a Capricorn. I am an earth sign. I love my nature. I will get out in my nature. I don't necessarily like bugs crawling on me too much, but I love my walking barefoot in the grass and sitting on this beautiful tree and just enjoying the sunshine and the wind. I love it. I really do. And I think that's what a lot of people need to do. They need to step away from situations, get out into nature, go sit by some water. If you live near the water, go sit by the water. I just went to Destin, Florida, and I had to go get my saltwater therapy in, okay? Because that was so healing. I mean, the waves crashing against me, the push-pull of the ocean. I mean, it was just, oh my God. It was amazing. It really was. I felt so happy in that moment. And a lot of it is just being present, being in the present moment, not stressing about the future, not being depressed about the past, being right here, right now. That's what matters. That's the only thing we have is right now. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. Next minute's not guaranteed. And the past, you can't go change that. I mean, what's done is done. Those grudges, that's going to sink you. That hatred in your heart towards another individual, that will ultimately be your downfall. Why do we have to spend all this time down here complaining about everything and being hateful and spiteful and going around trying to ruin somebody's reputation or ruin somebody's life? I don't get it. People like that, I think, are jealous. Jealousy breeds hatred. I don't know. Is that how that goes? I don't know. Or hatred breeds no. Jealousy breeds hatred. Yeah, I think that is how it goes. Yeah. Get. When somebody tries to destroy you, it's jealousy. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else to call it. Because why else would somebody try to destroy another person? I just don't understand that. Like me, I don't care. I'm too busy watering my own grass, worried about my own garden, to worry about what's going on with you. I mean, really, I don't care. I wish you well. And honestly, I mean, I read something the other day that said, I'm going to start telling people, I wish you the life that you deserve, and honestly, that makes a lot of sense to me. May you have the day that you deserve. May you have the life that you deserve. And I say that because, you know why I say that, if you're going around screwing people over and you're just a terrible, miserable person, well, I can't imagine that you're going to have a really good life, To me, luxury is peace. Peace is the highest form of luxury I think somebody can have, because you can have all the money in the world and still not be happy. And yeah, sure, it's, much better to cry in a Ferrari than on a bicycle. But my point is, you can be happy anywhere, or you can be miserable anywhere. I think a lot of people need to learn to simply start with what they have. Be grateful for what you have, because that's where it all begins. There really is. And if the only thing that you have to be grateful for is waking up in the morning and feeling that beating heart in your chest, then hey, start with that. That grateful heart is going to attract more blessings. But that spiteful heart and that hateful heart and that jealous heart, that's just going to attract more misery. I know you don't want the misery. You don't want the struggles. And look, we all go through struggles. Even the good people in life, especially the good people in life. And look, I can't answer that. I can't answer why. I don't know. I've gone through a lot, and I've been a good person to so many people. And those same people that I put first, they would put me last. And I can't explain that. I can't explain why that is. The only thing I can say is, well, they're not like me. They're not on my vibration. They don't think like me. They don't have the same respect like I have. They don't have the same morals that I have. And obviously they weren't raised the way I was raised. I was raised on morals. I was raised on respect. I was just talking to my significant other about the water in the boat analogy. You're in a boat, and there's all this water around you. If you let the water in the boat, your boat's going to sink, right? If you even poke a little pinhole in that boat, it's going to sink over time. The water's going to fill it, right? So instead of grabbing something and just trying to get the water out of the boat, why don't we plug the hole first? And that's where it all begins. When you stop the flow of negativity into your life. It's plugging the hole to stop the water from getting into your boat. Yeah, you can take buckets and you can start throwing the water over, but guess what? It's going to keep coming in. But until you stop the source of that pain, of those triggers, of that anger, of that hatred, of that resentment, of that jealousy, or whatever other kind of spirit you're dealing with right now, until you stop the source, it's going to keep plaguing you. If you cut certain plants down, but you leave those roots in the ground, I guarantee they're going to grow back. You have to get to the root of the problem. You have to plug the hole. You got to get to the source. Otherwise, you're still going to keep having problems. So what is your source? Yeah, we can all sit around and name a million things that other people have done to us in the past that were messed up and wrong and hurtful and horrible things, sometimes unforgivable. But until you deal with the source of how you're feeling, of those triggers, of what really gets to you. Some of y'all, I don't know why, I'm getting parent issues, childhood trauma, things like that. Until you learn to deal with that, you're going to keep finding issues with every partner. You're going to keep finding issues with the people around you. You're not going to stop being hard on yourself. Some of you have this need to overshare and overprove something. And a lot of this is trauma. And I understand this. I really do. That's why some people, when you're around them and they make a mistake of something simple, they're always like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Like, you ever met somebody like that? I've known quite a few people like that. And I've always had to tell them, you don't have to be sorry for that. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, why are you apologizing? But it's a trauma response. I read something recently that says something along the lines of one of the biggest trauma responses is basically trying to stay with somebody that's hurting you. You try to love them more. Give them more of what they already don't appreciate, basically. You want somebody to love you, and you don't ever feel loved, because I honestly think that some of you struggle loving yourselves. I've talked to so many people that had so many failed relationships. And they always ask me, like, why? Why can't I ever find that one? Why can't I ever find that person? And my response a lot of times is, you got to learn to love yourself. You got to learn to value yourself. Because when you value yourself, you're not going to put up with low vibrational, toxic BS, drama. You're not going to put up with it. And I know this firsthand because I didn't always love myself. I didn't always respect myself. And as a result, I got myself into some weird situations, okay? And I let things go on that were unacceptable. And I accepted things that I would look back on today and be like, oh my God, like, why did I ever allow that? One of the stages of healing is disgust. Once you can look back on something and say, that disgusts me. Like, I don't even want to look at that anymore. I don't even want to do that anymore. I don't even want to be around that anymore. I don't even want to allow that anymore. That's when you become stronger, and you can honestly look back and say, you know what? Yeah, I may have allowed that in the past, but I ain't allowing that today. I am truly grateful for every situation in my life that has forced me to choose myself, that has forced me to make a move, that's forced me to get out of toxic environments, even when it was uncomfortable, because I kept making excuses for people over and over and over again, trying to stay in stagnant situations, trying to make excuses for it, thinking that was my reality, because yeah, it was my reality at the time, but it's not today. I want to tell you right now, when you love and respect yourself and you set up those boundaries and you know your worth, you're not going to tolerate anything less than. You're going to know what you deserve, and you're not going to stop until you get what you deserve. Once I started working on that, that's when a lot of things started becoming very unattractive to me. We walk through the valley to shadow of death. We ain't going to set up camp there, okay? We're going to keep it popping, pushing, moving forward. It's hard, yes, but it's not impossible.